Hello, folks, and welcome to the Counting Sheep Podcast, episode 20. My name is Ruth, and I will be your host. And welcome to all of those new people and also people who are rejoining me again. I am fresh back from a fibery weekend in Maine, Freeport, Maine to be specific. And I have some footage from that. You may have already seen it in the beginning, and I'll have a little bit more at the end just to give you an idea of what kind of weekend it was. Gathering of friends with like-minded interests, spinning, knitting, crocheting. There was a gentleman there who had a circular sock machine going on, although I did not get any footage of him. And then, of course, the vendors that were there to sell their wares. And I did bring back some things that I will show you, some acquisitions. I will probably break it up a little bit between this podcast and the next one in 2 weeks because I don't want this to get too long. And I have a lot to get to today. So yeah, footage, some acquisitions. We had a lot of fun. The food is great in Freeport, Maine. So we had some really good eats, and then of course all things fiber. So we'll get to that. I'm going to dive right in. I do some crocheting on this podcast, knitting, spinning, and then also some things that I get up to in and around my small sheep farm here in Vermont, where I live with my husband, my dog, my cat, my 4 sheep, and 9 chickens. So yeah. So if that interests you, I welcome you and join us. And like and subscribe if this resonates with you. So first off, I always start with crochet, so that's a good thing. We'll just start there. I wanted to show you my progress on a year of crochet stitches blanket. This is from this calendar, which gives you a different crochet stitch every day of the year. So it's like a flip calendar, and you can see they give you a picture of what the stitch looks like, and then of course the pattern to go along with it. So I haven't been following it strictly every day. I've been a little bit avant-garde just so that I can make the pattern squares and rectangles and that sort of thing in my Afghan fit together. This is in need of another block for certain. But this yarn blocks out very well. And we're actually getting to lap size now, lap size blanket. This looks very nice on the back of my couch. I'm just gonna back up a little bit just so I can show you. So that essentially, it's gonna be getting too big to show on the podcast, so I'm probably going to have to start taking pictures of it. But as you can see, pretty organic. It's a lot of fun just to pick a stitch that comes along in the calendar and then add it on. I am using Peace Fleece worsted weight yarn in different colorways, which I'm happy to report is the supply chain has opened up again, and a lot of the stores are getting their supply back of Peace Fleece. So yeah, really fun. Having a ball with that. I'm not quite sure how big I want to make it. I really like the fact that it's a lap size now. It really makes for a cozy lapgan in the living room. So I might just go a little further and then put a border on around it and be done. Because I'm going to have another purpose for whatever is left over, and I do have a lot left over of this yarn. So yeah, so fun with that. I just thought I'd give you a little sneak peek of the progress on that, and the calendar is a lot of fun. Even if I don't do a stitch a day, it's nice to flip up the pages and see what's next. So. I just remembered I forgot to tell you what I'm wearing. This is called a Good Vintage Cardigan, And I'll just back up a little bit. It's the Granny Stitch cardigan, but what it does is it uses a lot of fingering weight yarn. So if you want a stash bust, it's really great. I think I used 6 different fingering weight yarns in this, and then a gray fingering weight with a little bit of bling, a little stellina in there, to kind of, you know, even it all out and bring it all together. So yeah, and it fits very nicely too. So the only thing is about this cardigan is that it does have a lot of ends. So you do one row of one color and then you do a row of gray, and so there are a lot of ends to work in, and you can do that as you go, and I probably recommend that because it's kind of daunting at the end to have all those ends to work under. But other than that, it's a very fun crochet project with some nice fitted sleeves. It's just got some really nice tailoring to it and nice finishing along the edges. So that's a good vintage cardigan, and that pattern is on Ravelry. I meant to say that in the beginning. All right, so onward, I want to show you my progress on the Laurel Henley. This is a pattern by Courtney Clark. I got her name wrong on the last podcast, and I apologize for that. I kept saying Courtney Cox, the actress. So her name is Courtney. This is Courtney Clark, and her business name or pattern business name is Tinderbox. So yeah, that's the picture of the Henley that I am doing. And I am doing mine in Jagger Spun sock yarn. This is a superwash sock yarn, 435 yards to 100 grams, and this is the lemon colorway, so a nice saturated yellow. And I am working on the body right now. I'm about halfway down from the arm divide, so I just thought I'd show you my progress here. So here it is. I'm finding this yellow looks better when I'm back a little further here. So yeah, this is where my stitch marker is. I just put that in there so that it doesn't unravel. So having great fun. I have another about 6.5 inches to go, 6.5 to 7. Here is the back. Yeah, very well written pattern. I just tried this on and it fits like a glove. The hook size I'm using is 3.5 millimeter. I did have to go down a couple sizes from the given hook size in the pattern, but still in all, it's a great pattern. I highly recommend. I have buttons coming for it. I have stitch markers right now in the buttonholes just to hold it all together while I'm stitching on the body. So yeah, so good fun. Progress being made there. I'm at the point where I'm just kind of moving along with it. It's just you know, basically putting on length on the body, so, and doing well with that. All right, so my next thing that I want to show you that I didn't have any progress on is because I'm thinking about reworking it, and that is the Jeanin pullover by Abby Maid, and this pattern is from More Magazine number 3. But I do believe it's been released to Ravelry, so you can get it there. And this particular issue, the More at 3, had a lot to do with like the cosmos and that sort of thing. So therefore, kind of, you know, kind of a space look to it. Anyway, this is kind of where I'm at. I did one row since the last time. But now that I'm looking at it, I was going to frog this only because I thought maybe I put too many baubles in it. But I'm thinking it looks just fine. I don't know, what do you think? I thought maybe spacing the baubles out a little bit more. So anyway, this is done Tunisian crochet, and I have the hook here somewhere. There it is. This is a Likey Tunisian crochet hook. Yep, and it is size 5.5 millimeter. The yarn is a fingering weight yarn, and I'll show you that. This is from Blue Barn Fiber. That's what it looks like in the skein, and of course this is what it looks like in the cake. And they hail from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. The base is Squishy Sock, and the colorway is Blue Blooms. So yeah, still undecided. Maybe I'll just kind of go with it for now, since the baubles here are kind of up close to my face. And then kind of do more sporadic baubles as I go down. But I still love the colorway, and I think it'll be fantastic once I start doing it again. Hopefully that'll be coming up quite shortly. I'll start on the Jean Ann again, but I still I'm keeping it front and center because it's been languishing for a bit, and I want to get back into some Tunisian, just different movements of the hook, a different kind of crochet, and which yields a pretty stretchy fabric. So that's the Jean Ann. And then moving on, I had shown last time my Riley socks that I started. These are a set of crocheted socks. The pattern is by Joanne's Grace. And I have a picture of them here. So those are the socks. And I ran into a bit of a, I'm going to call it a gauge glitch. I had to rip back on this one. I think I was about as far as this one here. And I haven't tried this one on my foot yet. But this one, when I had tried it on, I could not get it on. And sometimes you run into that with crochet. It's just not as stretchy as knitting. And even though you might be doing kind of a lacy stitch that has stretch to it, like this does have stretch, but the question is whether it's enough to get over your foot. So I may end up frogging this back again and trying to redo the body of the sock just so that I can have as much stretch as the actual ribbing. The ribbing is no problem. That goes right over my foot without any issue, foot and heel. The yarn I'm using is from Valley Yarns, and that's by Webbs down in Northampton, Mass, and it's called Huntington. So it's a fingering weight yarn. It is 75% superwash merino wool and 25% nylon, and it's in the colorway navy, which is the ribbing, of course, and then the other one is seagull, which is that gray color. So stay tuned on that. Like I said, things happen. That's why I like to be able to try things on as I go. I just may have to go up a hook size for it. I'm on an E hook size right now, which is 3.5 millimeter. May have to go up to an F in order to get it stretchy enough, you know, depending. So it's nice to figure that out in the beginning rather than get through the whole sock and realize you cannot put it on your foot. But yeah, a nice pattern still from Joanne's Grace. She's, in my mind, one of Crochet's royalty. Alrighty, so that is the Riley socks. I have a new work in progress to show you. The field sweater or field cardigan. They have two. Well, they have the sweater, the pullover, the cardigan, and I believe there's a beret as well you can make. I don't have the picture with me here right now, but the sweater has some nice, what I would call wheat fronds going all the way along the yoke. It's a nice textured sweater, and I was going to do it in this yarn called Telluride from Classic Elite, which I'm sorry to say I don't think you can get anymore because Classic Elite is no longer. This yarn has some linen in it. Actually, it's mostly alpaca, 82%, 12% linen, and 6% donicles, so it has some little flecks in it, neps. But I figured out that I didn't have enough yardage. This is all the yardage I would have had for that texture going across the yoke. So I didn't have enough to go ahead with that. But I'm still interested in doing that sweater, just not in this yarn. So I had this yarn sitting in front of me and kicking around in my mind, and then along comes a pattern that I bought a while ago, but the designer had decided to update it a little bit, so it came up on my radar, and I thought, now there's something that is similar, and it's in crochet. So I will show you this. Take it out of my bag here. This is a sweater by Linda Scuia, and she has a book out on sweaters, mostly textures. She does a lot of textured sweaters. This one's called the Goldenrod sweater, and it's a single pattern available on Ravelry. Like I said, she just updated it. I don't know if you can see that texture, but it definitely looks like natural plants. And so the main color that I had is this color, color number 2927, the Telluride. And I did start this. So let me show you. This is a top-down sweater. I'm using a hook size 4.5 millimeter, and here it is. It's a little wrinkly from being in the bag, but let me straighten it out a little. So there it is, and it is just gorgeous. And I'm finding this to be a nice break for my eyes after working with fingering weight on the Henley, the Laurel Henley. After, you know, concentrating on small hook, small yarn, this is a very nice break from that small work, because what you're doing is using a lot of these puff stitches, which they're a lot of fun and they go quick. So like I said, I started this between, you know, the last podcast and this podcast 2 weeks ago, and I'm having a blast with it. And I think it's going to look just great. It's a lot of interest in the yoke. It does, as you can see on the sleeve here, it does stop at some point, and it does in the body as well. So, and then the rest of the sweater is plain. But I definitely have enough yarn for this sweater, so that'll be a fun make. I'm already having a blast with it, so I just want to make sure that I told you everything about it. Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, so that's great. I'm thoroughly enjoying this make. And like I said, it gives my eyes a bit of a break from the small work. And that's kind of a good thing, you know, like in our crafting, I think it's good to give our muscles a break, including the muscles that are in our eyes, from all the focusing or the fine focusing and that sort of thing. So, all right, so let's see what's next. So the goldenrod sweater, stay tuned. Once again, that's by Linda Scuia. And yeah, so next up, I have knitting to show you. I'm going to start with the Star Cardie because I had a major gauge glitch with the Star Cardie. This is the Star Cardie, and that's in the blue colorway. I am doing mine in the same yarn, which is Jamieson and Smith, and this is 2-ply fingering in the shade. This shade is FC62 Mix, and this one is shade 34. So let me tell you what happened, and the only explanation I have is that some other size needle must have leapt its way into my bag because the second sleeve is a heck of a lot shorter than the first sleeve. And also the detailing on the color work is also evident. It looks different. So this is my first sleeve. I'm really happy with it. I had to change the cap because I misread the directions on that. So I had to tink this back and work it again. So that's the first sleeve. This is the second sleeve, and this is the one I picked up after I had this in the whip pile for a long time. Now it may not look any different to you, but when on the blocking board, when I went to the blocking board, this one's a lot shorter than this one. And the patterning is a lot less distinct because it was done on a smaller needle. Yeah, and I figured that out way too late. But after a little bit of despair, I have decided that I am not going to rip these out, rip either one of these out yet. What I'm going to do is move on to the body of the sweater. I am also thinking about making a larger size of the body than I had intended to initially. And I'm also thinking about just leaving it as a vest rather than these sleeves. So I've tried the sleeve on. It fits. It's very snug. And I'm not sure I want it something that snug on my body. So what I'm thinking about doing is, like I said, starting the body of the cardigan, checking my gauge religiously, and making sure that I'm getting the gauge that the pattern calls for, because something happened here with needle size. And then what I'm going to do is probably make a larger chest size and have it as a vest, because I do love wearing vests, and I think that will suit me better than having these sleeves. And and I'll have the extra yarn in here that I'll need to make a larger size of vest. So yeah, kind of disappointing, but it is my own fault. It's a big time gauge glitch that I did not pick up on until way after, and I think I know what happened. I borrowed the needles out of the bag for another project, and then threw other needles in the bag, and I was away at the time, and I just assumed the needles that I threw in the bag were the ones that I had been using all along, and they weren't. So yeah, always check needle size before you start something, and also check gauge along the way, because things can change. You can get tighter, you can get looser depending on the day, depending on how much stress you have in your life and that sort of thing. So lesson learned. But it's not all lost. You know, this is recoverable. I can recover this project. So I'm not too worried about it. It's just that, you know, we're all human, and we all make mistakes. And so, there's no use in just, throwing the project into interminable timeout just because I had a gauge glitch with the sleeves. But that being said, color work is a lot of work. And I'm not going to reknit those sleeves. I have a feeling that I'm just not going to do it. And so that's why the vest option is probably going to be the way I go and the best option for me. So yeah, moving on. I have a new project I want to show you, and it is this project. It is also done in JNS. And this one is called the Halftone Pullover, and it is by Kim at Indigo Knits. And here is the sweater. And as you can see, it's a top-down round yoke. Well, it's a raglan, actually, raglan sleeves. So. And a little bit of color work in the middle, and then you're home free with the second color. So let me reach down here and get that out. So this is my top color. This is JNS, of course, 2-ply, and this is color FC37. I got this color because I thought it'd be really good to wear with jeans. And then for the bottom color, I have this bad boy. And this is color number 203. And there's a lot of yardage on this cone. I got both yarns from the Woolly Thistle, and they have these nice cones that you can work off of. Just bearing in mind that this is unwashed, still has some spinning oil in it, and so your gauge will be different, from one to the other. That being said, I'm getting gauge with this yarn, and I'm just going to take the needle stopper off and just show you where I'm at here. Still doing some increases here. A lot of patterns have short rows worked into them, which I find wonderful. This one happens to just have it right after you do the ribbing. And so you're done with that part, and then you can just concentrate on increasing and increasing for. But yeah, I love this color. It's really nice. Would go good with jeans. So yeah, so that is the halftone pullover. I'm on size 3 needles. And yeah, I'm having a good time with that. Once again, this is the kind of stockinette knitting you can do in front of the TV or watching a good movie, what have you. So, and this pattern is really well written too. And she also has a printer-friendly copy, which is great, so that it can save, you save on ink and that sort of thing. But yeah, I'm looking forward to working off the cone, and yeah, should be good. Should be good. So once again, another new project, and yeah, all is well with that. So yes, I just wanted to make sure I told you everything about that. I want to give you an update on my ranunculus. If you recall, I'm taking a class with Pam Grushkin. She gives in-person classes in some stores in Connecticut. She's from Connecticut originally, but I think she now lives in Florida. But she does a lot of Zoom classes too, and I had no intention of ever knitting a ranunculus, but when she put the class up online, I just enjoyed being with Pam. So I think that was just the excuse I needed to knit a ranunculus. If you're not familiar with the ranunculus, it is a pattern that's been around for quite some time now. It is a top-down round yoke type of sweater that has texture up here and some lace stitches. It has two different necklines you can choose from, one that's really, really wide and then one that's a little bit narrower, of course. And the great thing about this pattern, which I find so fascinating, is that you can choose a yarn weight anywhere from lace weight to worsted weight. As long as you're getting gauge, you can do this pattern. The difference being that, of course, when you're using a lighter weight yarn, it looks more open, it looks more lacy, and as you get up to the more thicker yarns, it looks totally different. So I chose a yarn from an indie dyer. Hope is from New Jersey, and her yarn company is Hope Made Yarn Co. And you can get this online. And this is her Splendid DK. It's 85% superwash extra fine merino, so next to skin softness, and 15% nylon. It is a 4-ply DK, and it's 246 yards to 100 grams. This is the sweater weather colorway, so very autumnal. But I'll show you what I'm doing here. And I'm on size 10 needles, which is kind of cool because a lot of my stuff, like I said, I use smaller needles, smaller hooks, and it takes forever. But this is not taking forever, and we're moving right along. I'm actually up to the point, and the next class is tomorrow evening, and we are going to be splitting for the armholes. Now it's hard to see that because it's all bunched up, and I have gone up to a larger circumference circular needle, but it's still bunching up quite a bit on me. So, but just so you know, this is where I'm at with this. And actually, you know, this yarn is so squishy, as the Brits would say, and I am just enjoying this a lot. This also has short row shaping, specifically German short rows in it, and the pattern, Pam tells us, I'm told, initially the pattern when it first came out was not, didn't have as much detail as it does now, and it's been reworked, and there's a lot of video support for it as well. So if you're thinking about making a ranunculus and you have any hesitation, I can tell you that the pattern is well written, and yeah, so you can go ahead and, you know, take a look at it, see if you have something in stash, you know, to make one. It doesn't require, I thought, a lot of yardage. The size I'm doing, if I did a short sleeve, only requires 370 yards, and that's just mind blown. You know, I just and I have more than enough yarn. I have, yeah, 3 skeins of this, so so I have more than enough yarn to complete a short sleeve. But I think that what I'm going to do is make elbow length sleeves, because that looks pretty good on my body shape. So yeah, so that's the ranunculus. And if you're interested in Zoom classes or Zoom knitting classes, go over and check Pam Grushkin out. I believe it's pamgrushkinknits.com. If that's different, I'll put it on the screen here. She really is a very, very good teacher, and she's got a great sense of humor. And if you're not all zoomed out from the pandemic, it's, you know, like any other Zoom class, you know. And I think there's 3 or 4 of us total in the class, so it's a nice small group. And yeah, so that's the ranunculus. So now on to spinning. I got a lot of spinning done this past weekend because obviously I was with my people, and I was in Freeport at our knit, spinning, and crocheting fiber weekend. And so I showed you last time that I had the Dirty Girl Fiber yarn, or actually she's yarn and fiber, Dirty Girl yarn and fiber. I had 2 hanks of her roving, and they were both kind of similar in colorway. One had more yellow than the other, but I got them both spun up. Each one was 4 ounces. And then on Friday, I spent all day with the girls, and all I did was ply. I plied the 2 together, and this is what I produced. So, and this turned out to be 581 yards of fingering weight yarn. Let me just undo it here just to show you. This has not, I have not washed this and blocked it yet or hung it out. So there are some, you know, wavy parts that need a little bit of blocking love, but there it is, and so cool. And it's funny because I'm one of these organic spinners where I just kind of spin, and I don't spin for a project. I just let the yarn tell me what it wants to be once it's all done and in the skein. And as soon as I had this skeined up, the light bulb went on. And I'm going to do this. This is a Jen Steingass sweater. I got this during her sale in January. I think she had buy one, get one. This is called Nordic Nights, and I just love, I mean, this looks like trees to me. So I immediately, my mind went to this and this to do the color work in this sweater. So then the decision became, well, what about the body yarn? Do I spin that? Do I find a suitable, suitable roving, dyed roving, or do I go and buy some yarn to go with it? And I decided that I wanted to cast this on right away. So that took one question out of the equation. So I was looking for yarn, and my friend Tammy, thank God, helped me out while we were at the vendors over the weekend, and we went hunting. We took the skein with us, and this is from a vendor, and her name is Maine Yarn and Fiber Supply. So that's her card, and this is kind of a mustardy yellow. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this, but we both thought that this was going to look really well together. So this for the body. And she had just enough there in a fingering weight. So yeah, I got a big yellow theme going on right now. I have a yellow Laurel Henley, and this Jen Steingass pullover is going to be its own yellow loveliness. But yeah, I was very happy. I was very happy I got this spun up, and I was very happy that I immediately, it spoke to me what it really wanted to be. So I of course have more than enough to do the color work, so the rest of it will have to go in something else. So stay tuned. But yeah, very pleased with that. Got a lot done this weekend, even though we were chit-chatting and laughing and having a good time, which is what you do at these things, you know. Yeah, so very pleased with my spinning there. Yeah, Nordic Nights by Jen Steingass. She has such nice patterns to look at, and like I said, I have not knitted any of her patterns yet, but definitely I can use, and I really like the fact that the pattern continues on the sleeves. So yeah, another project. You can tell I'm just kind of like squirrel. On my way over to our weekend, our fiber weekend in Freeport, I stopped by Jagger Brothers, who they are the ones that make the Jagger Spun sock yarn I'm using in the Laurel Henley. I have never been to their factory store. They are only open on Thursdays, so it kind of worked out well that Thursday was my travel day and that I could swing by there and see what they had on offer. And I did buy some yarn. And they put it in this nice tote bag, nice, with their logo. And I bought this in a quantity sufficient enough to make a pair of Janie joggers. Now, I alluded to the fact before that Courtney Clark has a very recent pattern out called the Janie joggers. So, and this is what they look like. But I thought, you know, whether you use those pants for jogging or whether you wear them under a skirt or a dress, I think, you know, they have multiple uses. So I wanted to show you the colorway I got. And this is called Riverwalk. It is in their 50% wool, 50% silk. So very yummy, very soft. And imagine a nice pair of leggings made of 50-50 wool silk. So that's in the skein, and here this one kind of came apart on its own, so I'll show you just how it looks undone. Yeah, so I'm so pleased. I really am that I found this and bought enough of it for the joggers. And so this gauge for the Janie joggers is a little bit smaller than the and it's a different stitch than the Laurel Henley. So we'll just have to see. And I will do a gauge swatch. I live and breathe by it now. So yeah, and so I'll keep you in tune to how that works out. But yeah, and you know, we all know crochet, or you crocheters out there, we all know crochet eats yarn, and so there's quite a few skeins of yarn in this bag. So, but it's all good, right? All good in the make. So yeah, that's the Janie joggers by Tinderbox, otherwise known as Courtney Clark. All right. I think that's all I'm going to say about my acquisitions, as well as the weekend. I don't want this to go too long. And I will show you my spinning acquisitions, my actual things that I bought for spinning on the next podcast, because I want to put some of the footage in at the end here too that I got from the weekend and just all the fun that people were having. So yeah, so until next time, this is going to do it for me, and take care of yourselves, keep crafting, and be good to yourselves, and I will see you soon. Take care.